Seems that these are just normal bugs, which might make you think that the bugs are just normal in this world, but Aang drops this line later, which proves that idea wrong.
The monks always taught me that all life is sacred, even the life of the tiniest spiderfly caught in its own web.
There's a couple other bug hybrids mentioned too, but that was just the one that came to mind.
What are you doing in my mouth?
Give up! You're completely surrounded!
Yup, that's the same box that Paku gave them in episode 1 of this season. Good box continuity, Avatar. Too bad you can't pull it off with the fucking moon.
My staff!
Oh no, your fucking staff, Aang! Not your staff! You need that! You take such good care of it! Not your fucking staff! Nice continuity on the fact that 2 of the flaming arrows did hit Sokka's sleeping bag, so now it's on fire. In this shot, they're shown to be trees at the end of this clearing, but then in this shot a second later, it's shown that the clearing leads straight to a body of water. This is the same hat that Aang traded nuts for back in Haru's episode in season 1.
Great hat. I'll trade you some nuts for it.
Oh, that's some good hat continuity shit. Good box and hat continuity, Avatar. Figure out the moon! Okay, I was gonna ignore it the first time, Avatar, but if you're gonna make both your overhead establishing shots focus on strangely phallic shapes, I gotta say something. People are gonna bring it up in the comments, and they're gonna be like, oh, you didn't notice the dick shapes, and I'm gonna be like, I'm sorry! God, I really hate this little scene. It feels like Zuko and the Blue Spirit mask are seriously off-model. Zuko seems weirdly chunky, and the mask looks like a cheap knockoff. Check out this weird chameleon thing. It's a chameleon, but it's also a bird. I don't really know what the fusion name would be for it though. Someone figure that out in the comments. Comment what it should be called.
You think that I murdered someone?
We used to be a great society before you killed our leader. Now look at us!
Yeah, seriously, you are fucked. And not even for looking like that. Everyone else in the Avatar universe has like actual facial hair, not like little pencil line facial hair, which your mustache is implied to be. So I can't unsee this guy having not a tiny little mustache, but instead having a giant ball of flesh-colored beard around his mouth. I cannot unsee it. I could totally just jump out of here if he felt like it. I know that's not the point, but he could.
I can't.
Sure you can! A little... swish, swish, swish! Yeah, bending slice! And we're on our way!
Who knew that this line would save most of the Earth Kingdom someday?
Going! Airbending slice! Airship slice!
Huh.
That's okay, Sokka. For some reason, I thought you were an expert detective.
Yeah. Back home, he was famous for solving the mystery of the missing seal jerky.
Everyone wanted to blame it on a polar leopard, but I figured out it was old man Jarko wearing polar leopard boots.
I think this right here is the exact moment when I finally decided to start this channel. Hearing Sokka talk like this for the 800th time, I knew it was my destiny. Combined with this moment, of course. This is what absolutely sealed it that I was gonna do this series. That mindset combined with this little moment. On this 360 wipe transition, the camera actually does a 360. You can actually see a blurry Aang go by as the camera spins. They didn't need to do that. I noticed that and it was history. And here we are. In this first scene, the metal around Sokka's magnifying glass monocle is a gray color, but in the rest of the episode, it's brown or a bronze color. Also, this hat is really weird even if you remove the magnifying glass, but we've actually already seen this style of hat in the show already. The first man we meet from Makapu Village in the Fortune Teller episode actually wears the same kind of hat. This guy cracks me up. He's just like, yeah, money! Pick it up, drop it. I fucking love money. That's more like it. This is a good looking Blue Spirit. Not like the earlier scene. Seriously, it's like night and day. Look at this. In this shot, it seems like Sokka's wearing a bag over his shoulder, but in the shot prior and the shot after, he's definitely not.
This temple and this statue were cut from the same stone.
That's a very interesting observation, Sokka, since the temple and the statue don't look very much alike at all color-wise. Maybe Sokka's just like a rock expert?
They're minerals.
There's nothing I could say about Foaming Mouth Guy that hasn't already been said. I am defeated. I think this is the only evidence of socks existing in the entire Avatar world ever. I can't pinpoint another moment where socks are shown. I'm serious. Is it possible that these aren't socks? Oyaji of Kyoshi Island may have been the man to invent socks. I'm fucking freaking out. And I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say Katara's wearing socks literally in the same shot, but those aren't socks. Those are not definitively socks. We never see Katara wear just socks. Those are her shoes, probably.
What's Suki up to?
Look at this smug look Katara gives Sokka when he asks about Suki. She's on to you, bro.
This girl you're talking about, she'll come around. You just gotta hang in there.
You think so?
Avatar is so good at this, dude. It plays with the viewer's observations. In classic Western cartoons, characters can be imprisoned behind bars that are far too far apart to keep them inside, or in a pillory like Aang's that the holes are far too big for his body. But in those classics, they would still work as intended. The creators of the show know this, and they play off these already ingrained rules in the viewer's mind, and they do little awesome jokes like this. I love that stuff.
This piece is called The Birth of Kyoshi. It was painted at sunrise on the day this island was founded. Why, it was today, in fact. 370 years ago.
They really kept these trees exactly the same for 370 years, huh? This room is lit by a glowing crystal, kind of like the ones at the end of the Cave of Two Lovers, or in the Crystal Catacombs at the end of the season.
Everyone loved Chin the Great because he was so great. Then the Avatar showed up and killed him, and that's how it happened.
Oh my god, Zuko stole a whole ass uncooked pig? He would look pretty silly in the blue spirit outfit lugging that shit back to camp.
And there is no hope at all.
No, Zuko. You must never give in to despair. Allow yourself to slip down that road and you surrender to your lowest instincts. In the darkest times, hope is something you give yourself. That is the meaning of inner strength.
This is some of Iroh's first really meaningful advice that can really hit home for the viewer, I feel. He honestly doesn't have a ton of one-on-one advice moments with Zuko in Season 1, and even if they were kind of like the octopus one.
You're fishing for an octopus, my nephew. You need a tightly woven net, or he will squeeze through the tiniest hole and escape.
This one's a hard hitter. Everyone can vibe with this and see some meaning in it. This is when Iroh really starts to come into his own as a wise mentor, not just for Zuko, but for the viewer as well.
I'm going to call Avatar Kyoshi herself.
So Oyaji was pretty not stoked on them touching Kyoshi's stuff, right?
Please don't touch.
These fans, they were her weapons, no?
Also refrain from touching the fans.
So did they just pull like an off-screen Kyoshi's gear heist that we didn't get to see?
When they came to the neck of the peninsula where we lived, he demanded our immediate surrender. I warned him that I would not sit passively while he took our home. But he did not back down.
Is this a joke that Chin was short? Because like Kyoshi was a big lady, right? Like really big? Okay, so they show Chin's stance up here, right? And they even show his foot make the footprint. To me, this shot implies that this is Chin's footprint and not Kyoshi's footprint, like the mayor of Chin Village says. But he doesn't leave this stance until he dies. But then Kyoshi separates her island and he's still in that stance, and then the ground falls out from under him. The ground that he would have made that footprint on. But the footprint is still there in modern day? No, I don't think so, Avatar. It is really cool to see a fully fledged Avatar actually use their power and just absolutely dwarf everyone. The closest we've got to seeing that is Roku, which was only for a moment. Here we really get to see what Aang is working towards in the endgame, which really gives the viewer the moment of like, wow, Aang's gonna be able to do this kind of shit?
Uncle, I thought a lot about what you said.
You did? Good.
It's helped me realize something. We no longer have anything to gain by traveling together. I need to find my own way.
Zuko leaving Iroh is sort of like the exact response I feel like we all have to advice when we first get it. That we don't want it, we don't want to hear it, and we can handle it on our own. This is the start of Zuko's journey, and I mean Zuko's real journey of self-discovery. Zuko leaving Iroh right now represents both of those things. The feeling that he can do it on his own, and it also represents his first step in this journey that he has to take.
The accused will now spin the wheel of punishment to determine his sentence.
Okay, so we got roasted alive, razor pit, eaten by bears, eaten by sharks, boiled alive, and I guess this one's kind of like an Iron Maiden type deal. And community service, of course. Notice how on the wheel, though, community service and boiled alive are not right next to each other. But later, after the wheel is spun, they are right next to each other. And the very last one is like flogging, I guess? Jesus Christ, why does that one seem so much worse than the rest? Okay, so Kachi cuts this Chin statue pretty much across the waist twice, but it falls apart seemingly from the knees and like shoulder to hip. Aang! We literally just discussed how falling off this very cliff kills people. This guy does end up living as we see him later, but still, Aang! What the fuck, dude?
The Yuyan can pin a Yuyan to a flag from 100 trees away without killing the tree.
Oh, and there goes the fans.
Happy Avatar Day, everyone.
this is by far the worst town we've ever been to.
He's right.
So I know this episode gets a lot of hate, and while I do think some of it's warranted, I don't think a lot of it is. This episode's still fun, but not like the weird off-brand cartoonish that Return to Omashu was. Sokka and Katara get a little world-building excursion, and Sokka gets to be as goofy as he wants. And the cutaway jokes to Aang are welcome as well, they're pretty good too. It's also a big episode for Zuko and Iroh. I feel like when most people look back on their most hated episodes, they just remember the main plot, and they forget about what's going on with Zuko. This is a great episode for Iroh in particular, and that speech about inner strength always hit really hard for me. And of course, no one complains about that Kyoshi scene. That was awesome. I don't think there's any debate there. Alright, patron shoutouts. If you want to be 2 full episodes ahead for Overanalyzing Avatar, you can support me on Patreon and see The Blind Bandit and Zuko alone right now if you're watching this on YouTube. If you help me out on there, you will be from now on 2 episodes ahead of the YouTube releases. Biggest shoutouts go to Fritz Sullivan, who I saw smile once and he got every person in the room's phone number. They literally lined up. And Keegan Scott, who actually found Atlantis but kept it secret from the rest of the world to keep the local Atlanteans safe from the world at large. Other enormous shoutouts go to Be My Valentine, Code Canutt, Derek Cornwell, DJ Jack, Stu Mutual Aid, Garmer, Glintlock, Mana, Nicholas Abbott, Plarkler Glass, Skylo, Super Snipper, and Tiago Nascimento. Next up is The Blind Bandit and woo!